Hi, I'm Justin, founder of Voice of the Forgotten. We're here outside of Bonds of Love Orphanage, just outside of Morelia, Mexico. They're still under construction, they're still building. We're in Mexico, there's explosions, there's chickens. There it is, it's a little bit of everything. But I want to talk about this place because it's dear to my heart in so many ways. The couple, Jorge and Nelly, I met years ago when they were running another orphanage and had worked with them for many years. And they had an opportunity to open their own orphanage, and we supported it wholeheartedly because you can never have enough orphanages in Mexico, unfortunately. There's so many children that are in need.
No me hablen de respeto si no saben dar la mano. Yo sé bien quién es quién y lo tengo anotado. El que vive de mentiras no se mira reflejado y el que actúa como víbora termina envenenado.
Únete a nosotros mientras descubrimos la oscuridad detrás de los orfanatos en México y encontramos aquellos donde tu ayuda puede impactar la vida de un niño. I'm here in front of an empty business that my good friend Phil from Beyond Youth Moving Forward used to have. He put a community center here to help the orphanage that is only a few blocks from here, Jorge and Nelly's orphanage. And he asked, and they made a deal that I'll put the center here and you send me the kids. And offered classes for English, offered emotional, psychological help for the children. But what happened is the money went here to the teachers that came, to the people that came and helped, to rent the building. And Jorge and Nelly stopped receiving money from him. And by that time, we hadn't been donating either because we didn't believe in the direction that they had went. And so Jorge only sent a few kids in the beginning, and then he just stopped sending them. And this is what we see here in Mexico now. It's a money for kids. If you don't give money, you don't get access to the kids. And all we're trying to do is offer help to them. We're trying to offer psychological, emotional, and spiritual help to them, guidance. So Phil had to close this. He closed it because Jorge wouldn't send them to him, wouldn't send them any kids. And it's just a sad statement of the darkness that's here, the greed that's so prevalent. If I don't receive, you don't get. And it's not about the kids anymore. The kids are just a tool to get money. I want to talk just a little bit about one of the orphanages that is the couple that runs it's just closest to my heart, right? We had a lot of time together. They were in another orphanage and they wanted to go out on their own. And man, I walked with them as much as we could with them and helped them economically to launch their own because they were doing such a good job with the kids. But they were under the supervision of someone else, and that supervision kind of kept them guided correctly. It kind of kept them from being a lost sheep, from wandering off and getting contaminated by the darkness, right? And when I say darkness, I'm talking hate, greed, selfishness, fear. It's a spiritual darkness that just comes in and invades. It invades the light. And so anyways, very dear couple, and we talked in the beginning, and I was clear with them, do not accept money from the darkness. Do not. This project is a gift from God, and you don't take darkness in and contaminate the light. And so we walked through this project with them, and they started going off, getting in debt to people. They got more land than they needed, and they were in debt to somebody. It was $35,000 they were in debt, and it was just, no. I mean, the Bible's clear. The debtor is slave to the one who owns the debt, right? That's not an exact quote. It's in Proverbs 22:7, I believe. But, entonces, so how do you walk in the light while you're stepping in the darkness? How does that happen? You can't. You get contaminated. You get pulled in. And I know I'm talking to Americans here, right? And we love debt. We love debt. But we're talking about an orphanage in Mexico that survives on donations. The people give what they can, and there's not a lot that do. They give what they can to help the children, and that money should not be used to shovel them out of a debt they should never have had, right? So when you go into debt like that, you're not walking in faith, right? You've left faith out, because if you trust God to provide, you don't go get into debt. That's what the flesh does, right? That's what selfishness. I want this now. God isn't giving it to me, so I'll get a loan. I'll get a loan. I'll wrap this chain and anchor around me and weigh me down. And so that naturally starts pulling you into the darkness, right? And that's just one step, right? But it's a big step, because it takes you out of faith. You stop walking in faith and you start walking in the flesh, and the flesh is contaminated. We all know that. We all live with it, right? And so we stopped giving to them economically, financially, for the building of this thing, because what happened is they became so focused in this building, right? The greed came up, and it was just the building. The kids they were caring for, they began to lose them. They lost them. I don't know, and I hate to throw numbers out, but they lost a good percentage of the kids they were in charge of, because they neglected their emotional needs. They neglected their spiritual needs. They weren't feeding that. And first and foremost, the most important in this life is our spiritual growth, our spiritual health, right? Because without that, man, we can fall to the world easily. We can fall to hate. We can fall to lust. We can fall to fear. We can be paralyzed. We don't do anything. And so these kids just started falling off. And I talked to Jorge. And I've talked to Nelly. And I said, man, you gotta keep focused on their spiritual health, their emotional needs. These young kids started getting boyfriends and girlfriends because they were getting validation, right? Like, they've been abandoned by their parents. What value do I have, right? What value do I have? And then you get Jorge and Nelly who come in and say, hey, you're special. You're special for us. You're important. And then even they neglected them. And even they walk away from them and say, you know what? Our building's more important, right? Glory to God. God's providing this building for us. We're building in faith and everything. And they use his name in vain. God never prioritizes a building over a life, because a life holds so much more value. It's all about life. It is all about life. That's all it's about. And when you start neglecting that for a building, you lose your purpose, you lose your compass, you lose your way. And that's what happened. And we tried walking with them, and the greed, it was just this greed. And so what happens is, then they don't make the kids available to you, right? If you don't economically support them, if you don't give money, he won't let you come see the kids. And it's not, I don't know, I can't even say it's a conscious decision. Like he says, if you don't give me money, I just think he uses the kids as a form to receive income, right? Like, if the building is the most important thing, like, I need this building, we're doing it for the kids. I need this massive building, and it's a huge building, lots of land. They went into debt for it, and man, we talked to do it in phases, and we're in Mexico. The hate's prevalent here. I just honk at you, and it's a fun one. But so it breaks my heart, because they did so well with the kids, and maybe they've. And I told Jorge, man, you got to transition from builder to father figure for these kids, right? And I don't know if it's ever been done, because they've been open for 8 months and they've never invited us in, and that hurts, because I love them. I still love them to this day. They're special people. They've given their lives to helping these kids, but when you start wandering into the darkness, we as an organization I can't approve it. I can't give money to someone who prioritizes a building over a child's life. I can't do it. And because no money's been given, he's had no motivation to invite us there to see what they've got going on. So they've been open about 8 months, and I got no idea what's going on in there, so I can't really comment on it. But for us, it's a fail. You know, we have this test sheet, right? Like, it's not just, well, I like their personality, so I go give them money. We actually have a process of evaluation of each orphanage, spiritual leadership there, emotional health, medical care, all these things that are important. Are they doing it? Are they doing it? And we'll make this available. It's not some mystery thing. We'll make it available. This is what we look at. And if they have a Cash for Kids program, right? Like, if you don't donate, you get no access to the kids. You can't love on them. You can't show them how special they are, how valuable they truly are, unless you donate money to us. It disqualifies them. It disqualifies them because they're using the children as tools to enrich themselves, to enrich their project. And we can't do it. We won't do it. And I don't care. I don't care if I lose every donor that's ever given because we won't give to someone who uses this strategy. It's just, we won't do it. We have certain core values we stick to. And this is the truth. This is the truth. Cash for kids, right? It's wrong. It's wrong to use these lives to generate money for your own pocket. It's a sad state. It's a sad state we're in here, you know? Only God knows how much longer we have to live in this, but it's all got a purpose, right? It strengthens us, makes us better people. You know? What if we're brighter because of the darkness we walk through? Things to think about, right?